Hello everyone. Today we'll talk about cookie and session, which is the last topic in Java Servlet. So let's get started. So first, as introduction, have you ever wondered how these features on a website are implemented? First, website language preference. So if the first time you go to a website, you can pick your language preference, English, Spanish, or Chinese, or other language. And then you turn off the browser and you go to this website again, and your language preference is stored. Okay, now realize that you have never logged in yet. So for example, here is Amazon. The first time I got here, by default, it is English. Now I will change it to Spanish. Now as you can see, all of those languages are now Spanish now. Then I'm going to close my browser, and here I'm going to close it really completely. All right, then I start my browser again, and I go to Amazon. And guess what? The language is still Spanish. Now I hope you can realize that I haven't logged in yet, so my language preference is not stored on the server side. Okay, so apparently my language preference is stored locally on my computer. Because if I change it to a different computer and I go to Amazon, of course, by default, it will be English. All right, then let me change back to English. The second example of cookie, or actually the spoiler alert, right? We're using cookie, is shopping cart. Now realize that I haven't logged in yet. Okay, so I haven't logged in yet, and my shopping cart is 0. So let's say I'm going to buy a sneaker. I click here, and I like Adidas, and I'm going to add it to the cart. Okay, I have to select the size. Well, actually, I wear 12, okay? Add to cart. Now, you can add to cart without logging in, but when you purchase, then you have to log in because they need your credit card information and so on and so forth. As you can see, there's one item in my cart. I can continue shopping, okay? And I press this one. Now, attention, every time you press a picture on Amazon, you are making a brand new HTTP request. And guess what? If I make a new request and the shopping cart information is still stored there. So let me change to my size in case you want to give me a gift. Now my size is 12. Add to cart. Now my cart has 2. Now I'm going to completely close Amazon. Okay, press and then quit. And I'm going to launch my browser again and go to Amazon. And guess what? My shopping cart is stored there. So I didn't lose anything. So apparently Amazon stores the 2 items on my local machine in the form of cookie. Okay, so basically cookie is a piece of information that the server, in this case Amazon, stores on my machine. Okay, so how can you find it out? How can you find the cookies a server stored on your machine? So for example, if I go back here, now, if you're on Chrome, you can click this lock here. Okay, I make my cursor very large so you can see it. Right here, if you click it, you can see that connection is secure and is certified. So HTTPS is good. And guess what? There are 16 cookies in use. So if I click, and as you can see, there are actually 3 different servers, different sites, different domains. They're sending cookies to my browser. And one of them is Amazon. Okay, so you can expand it, and here has all the cookies. As you can see, this is my preference, and it looks like I'm using US dollars, and there's a session ID, and there's a session ID time, and token, skin. Basically, this is, so every one is a cookie, and a cookie has a name, it has a content, and a cookie is associated with a domain. Okay, so in other words, this cookie is created by .amazon.com, okay? And when I make a new request, the cookie will be sent together with this request all into this domain, okay? And here is another one. I have a cookies, cookie name and content. All right, so let's say I'm going to remove all the cookies. Remove, and remove. Okay, now I cleared all the cookies that Amazon sent to me, Then I'm going to refresh, and guess what? Now look at here. Now we have 2. If I refresh, it becomes 0 because I delete all the cookies on my local machine, and the cookie stores the items I put in my cart. So apparently Amazon is using cookie to store the items in the shopping cart. Another example is search engine. So for example, if we go to bing.com, okay, now the first time I log on, I'm going to check how many cookies Bing has already sent to me. So if I click here, guess what? The first time I go to Bing, Bing sent back 21 cookies. Okay, sent Bing 21 cookies. As you can see, the cookies also from Amazon and www.bing.com. All right, so I'm going to change my preference. So the first time I go to Bing, by default, we will type something, for example, coronavirus, right? And there are suggestions. Okay, now what if I do not want this suggestion? That's my preference, right? Somebody don't want Bing to suggest some searching items. So we can go here, this hamburger, and go to settings, go to more, and here are all your personal preferences. Now, one thing that I do not want is I do not want to see any searching suggestions. So I will uncheck this and make sure you save it. Now, when you save it, guess what? Bing.com creates a cookie and send it back to your browser. Your browser will save it locally. Okay, so now if I close it and I open it again, I'm going to type COR and I cannot see any suggestions. Okay, now if I clean all the cookies, if I clean all the cookies here, remove and press refresh, and now I have all those default searching suggestions. Okay, now have you ever wondered how these features are implemented? So the answer is using cookie. Okay, the last one is login. So for example, the first time you go to a website, it asks you to log in and you input your username and password, okay? And username and password will be sent to the server through HTTP request. The server will query database, get your username and password and compare. If they match, they will log you in. But what happened to the second and the third or fourth request, okay? Do you have to input username and password for every request? Now the answer is no. So how does a website remember that you have logged in? Okay, you only have to log in once, and then for the second, third, or fourth request, you don't have to put username and password. And so most servers are using something called a session, okay, and together with cookie, it's called a session cookie and a session to get this down. Today we'll also implement a very basic login service. All right, so let's start our first section. Maintaining client state. So what is a session? A session is a very important concept. Now, based on dictionary, a session is a period devoted to a particular activity. For example, if I go to my office where I'm in my home, I meet Dr. Sugar. So I will start a conversation. I say, Dr. Sugar, how are you? How's your weekend? And he replies, well, I mow my lawn, and so on and so forth. And then I say, it's good. I went to the theater, and then I say goodbye. Then the session ends. So I initiated the session. So that's the first request. And then when I say bye, the session ends. So what is a session in the context of web development? So in web development, a session is the time interval in which the client, in this case the browser, and the server communicate with each other until one terminates the communication. For example, you close the browser, or the server says, "Hey, I'm gonna, terminate this current session." So in simpler term, a session is a state consisting of multiple request and response pairs between client and server. So in this picture, as you can see, there are two ends: the front end, the browser, and also the back end. So the browser will start the session. Just like when I go to office, I say, "Hi, Dr. Sugar." I start the session because I make the first request. And then the server, which is .sugar, right, response, and then we request response. Remember this is a pair, request response. And then when I say goodbye, that's my last request. And then .sugar will say goodbye to me, and the session ends. Okay, so all the request and all the request response pairs, they belong to the same session. And many web applications require maintain the state of the client, aka session tracking. Okay, for example, as we have seen before, we have to keep track of the user's shopping cart across requests, because every time I click add to cart, that's a brand new request. That's a request belongs to the same session. Now we have to remember everything that this user is doing in this session. In other words, how many items this user has added to the shopping cart. Or we have to do session tracking. For example, we have to save the login status of the user across requests, because once you log in a website, you can make multiple requests afterwards. Now we have to remember that it is you, so you don't have to log in again. So session tracking enables data sharing across multiple requests. As you can see, if we save something in the session, then every request response can access the thing we stored in this session. Okay, now there are two technologies that Java Servlet provides that we can implement session tracking. Now one is cookie. You have seen it, right? The server creates cookies and send it back to the browser. The browser save it locally, and we can store users' information in this session. Now the other one is called session. We'll talk about later on. So first, let's talk about cookie. So what is a cookie? A cookie is a small piece of text stored on the user's computer by the server. And cookies are commonly used for three purposes. Session management, for example, we can store login, shopping cart, preference, game scores, all the links I've clicked on this website, and also personalization and tracking. Now, one thing I want you guys to remember is session does not support cross-domain. So that means if the cookies are created by a domain, abc.com, which is a fake website, right? abc.com. So this web server create cookies and send it back to my browser save it. Then when I make a request to abc.com, will I include all the cookies made by abc.com. In other words, the cookies made by one domain will never be sent to a different domain. Okay, that's for security purposes. Just remember this. So for example, if I go to Amazon and Amazon gave me 61 cookies, and I would never send those 61 cookies to google.com or bing.com. Okay, cookies will only be sent to where it is made. All right, so let's go to cookies and see more details. So here are some very good cookies, right? All right. As you have seen, cookie is a small amount of information sent by servlet to a web browser, because now we're talking about Java. So a servlet can make a cookie and send it back to the browser. Now, cookies are very simple. It has a name and it has a single value and some optional attributes. So let me show you how we can create cookies. So let me open my IntelliJ IDEA. So here under cookie, so this is a cookie demo 1. I will upload all the code online on TCU Online, so you can access them. So this is a class called cookie demo 1 extends HTTP servlet. And in this class, we implement two methods, do post and do get. And basically, do get simply just call do post. So there's only one method. So I'm going to create a cookie on the server side. Remember, cookie is created on the server side. So cookie, as you can see, we have a class under javax.servlet.http. So cookie, assembly operator, new cookie. Now we'll create a cookie. There are two attributes that you have to provide. One is the name, one is the value. Remember, a cookie has a name and a value, or a key value pair. So for example, this name is, let's call it Bing, okay? And here the value is hello from server. Okay, we're going to send this cookie to whoever requests us. And how do we send cookie back to the browser? Okay, we're using response. If you remember response.getWriter. So response dot getWriter dot write cookie. It's not going to work because cookie is not a string or it's not HTML, so you cannot write cookie back. So what we can do is there is a special method in response. It's called .add cookie. So if you want to write something back, you can use getWriter.write. For example, you can write JSON, you can write HTML, or you can write some plain text. But if you want to send cookie back, you have to use response.addCookie. That's it. Okay. So now let me launch it, and let me copy this servlet URL and go to Chrome. So localhost, oops, all right, so a little bit spoiler alert, we're going to implement this later. So I'm going to copy and paste. So that's the servlet I'm requesting. And I'm going to press F12 so you can see the traffic. So press F12 and go to network. So right now there are no requests. So I'm going to, when I press enter, I'm going to make the first request and start a session. Okay, because right now just think of session as a abstract concept. That means a session has multiple request, response, request, and response until one end terminates. Okay, so I'm going to press enter. Now that's the request. If I press this request, you can see some information about this request and also its response. So let's look at the request. In the request, we have headers, and so on and so forth. Okay, don't worry about this cookie. Now we never set this cookie. This cookie is set automatically. So let's look at response. Now in response header, there is a header called set cookie. And in set cookie, there is a key value or name value pair. It's Bing equals hello from server. This is the cookie that cookie demo 1 created and sent back to the browser. Okay. Now I'm going to close. First, let me copy this URL and then completely close my browser. Okay. Then I'm going to open my browser again. Now this time I'm not going to access this cookie demo 1 because if I access cookie demo 1, I'll get a cookie Bing equals hello from server, right? I'm simply going to index.jsp. And also I'm going to press F12, see the traffic. So when I press, now remember, we never request Bing cookie, right? So press return. Now this time, as you can see, we no longer have that Bing cookie. Okay, we only have this JSession ID. Now I told you this, Tomcat will by default create a cookie called JSession ID. Okay, this is just a token, but we don't have that Bing because when you terminate your browser, by default, all the cookies will be deleted. Okay, of course, you can set an age or set a expiration time for the cookie, but by default, a cookie will be deleted once the client close the browser. All right. Now let's look at cookie demo 2. Can you add more than one cookie? Of course. So let's look at demo 3 first. So in demo 3, we create 2 cookies. Now, new cookie, new cookie. In Java, everything is an object. So new cookie, new cookie. We have 2 cookies. One is MSG, one is name. And how do we add 2 cookies? Very simple. Response.add cookie C1, add cookie C2. Okay. So now I'm going to access cookie demo 3. Here in network, we're going to press enter. As you can see, in the response header, there are 2 cookies. Now, it's interesting. There are 2 headers with the same name, set cookie, set cookie. In the first header, we have MSG equal to hello. In the second set cookie, We have name equal to Bing, and you can set as many as you can. No, you cannot. I think for one application, you can set at most 20 cookies, I think there is a limit on how many cookies that one application can set or can send to the browser. Okay, so there is a limit, but in this case, we set 2 cookies. All right. Now, how can we print all the cookies that sent from the client side? Now, here's the deal. So let me show you before I show the demo. So here's the deal. The first time we send a request, now the server, optionally, we can create cookies and send it back with the response. So the first request comes here with no cookie at all. Then the first response, we can set 1 cookie, 2 cookies, 3 cookies, as many as you want. Now, in the second request, and guess what? The browser will automatically pack all the cookies from the previous response and send with the second request. So for example, if the server made 5 cookies and sent to us, okay? And then the next time we make a request, all the 5 cookies will be attached to the request automatically. We as a programmer, we don't have to worry about that. That's done automatically by browser. Okay. So how do we access all the cookies now on the server side? How do we access all the cookies from the client side? Now there is a method called request.getCookies. So if the request has 2 cookies, then getCookies will return us an array with 2 cookies. Now if a request have 10 cookies, then getCookies will return us a 10 cookie array. Okay, so for example, we're going to first visit demo 3, and we know demo 3 add 2 cookies. Okay, you also remember that Tomcat will set a JSession ID cookie by default. So totally there will be 3. Okay, I'm not sure there will be other cookies, but at least 3. So we're going to first visit demo 3 to get all the cookies, and then visit demo 2 to retrieve all the cookies on the server side. So once we have all the cookies, then we can use a for each loop and c.getName and c.getValue, and we print the cookie name and the cookie value. Okay, so that's the deal. So let me terminate my my IntelliJ. Okay, let me make sure I delete this out and restart. And then on the Chrome side, on the client side, I'm going to clean all the cookies. So click this ... go to More Tools, and go to Clean Browsing History. Okay, I'm going to clean all of them. So we're going to clear all the cookies. Clear data. All right. Okay, then we're going to refresh and go into demo 3 first, if you still remember. Cookie demo 3. Okay, then cookie demo 3 created 2 cookies and send it back to us. Then on the next request, this request will pack all the cookies we receive from server and send it to cookie demo 2. And the cookie demo 2 will get all of them and print them. So we'll go to demo 2, press enter. Now let's go back to IntelliJ. As you can see here, cookie demo 2 get cookies. Now we have 3 cookies. We explicitly create 2 cookies, MSG and name. And I told you before, Tomcat will add a default cookie called JSessionID and with a token. Okay, now this token uniquely identify a session on the server side. We'll talk about that in the next video. All right. Next, we're going to set an age for a cookie. Now remember, by default, when the client closes the browser, the cookie dies, right? Now, but we can make a cookie live longer. That's actually what happened on Amazon. Remember, I'm pretty sure some students have the question is, hey, Dr. Wei, you said by the time the client closed the browser, then all the cookie will be deleted. But I see that you put some items in the shopping cart and then you completely close your Chrome, but next time you come back on, everything's still there. That is because Amazon set a age or a lifetime, how long that a cookie can live on the cookie, and we can do that either. We can do that as well. So let me go to demo 4, in demo 4, we create a cookie, and then we're going to set max age. Now, as I said before, by default, a cookie will be deleted once the user closes the browser. But actually, we can set an age for this cookie. So for example, this case, I will set max age to 30 seconds. So that means the browser will save this cookie to local disk for 30 seconds, then it will delete it, okay? Whatever, no matter what state you are in. For example, if your browser is still on or your terminal browser, it will be deleted after 30 seconds. So let me launch it. And first, we're going to cookie demo 4. Copy this URL, and then it will launch my browser automatically. Here, okay. So let me press F12 and monitor the network. Okay. Control V and press return. Now if you click here, in the response, we got a MSG equal to set max age, and the max age is 30. That means it expires at this time. Now I'm going to demo, press enter. As you can see in my request, we got 2 cookies. One is JSession ID, is the cookie that's set by Tomcat, and this one is the one set by demo 4. And then we can go to, let's say, cookie demo 3. Remember, if we go to demo 3, we got 2 more cookies. As you can see here, we got 2 cookies back. All right, then we go to cookie demo 2. And demo 2 will print all the current cookies. So let's go to IntelliJ and see all the cookies. Where is my set MSG equal to set max age? It is gone, right? We got that cookie, but the cookie can only leave for 30 seconds. So when we go to demo 2 and demo 2 get all the cookies, we only have 3 cookies left. So the cookie we get from demo 4 actually got deleted after 30 seconds. Now, what if I set this to 60 multiply 24 multiply 365? So that means this cookie will live forever. So, okay, so 60 seconds, 60 minutes, okay, and 24 hours and 365 days. Okay. So for example, if I make this cookie live that long, if I launch it again, number 4, and we got this cookie. Sorry, I forgot to open the network. Do it again. As you can see that this cookie will expire 1 year from today. Okay, 1 year from 2021. So now, even if I completely close my browser, okay, and also, but don't clear the cookie. Okay, don't clear the cookie, and go to this one again. Press F12. See all the traffic. Press enter. As you can see, there will be 2 cookies. One cookie is JSession ID. I just got it. That's the first time I access this website. And the other cookie is the cookie we set before we close our browser. Okay, as you can see, it is in the request, we have a cookie here, MSG set max age. Okay, and then next time I visit it, I got 2 cookies here actually. Request. In the request, we have MSG and we have JSession ID. Okay, that's all for the cookies.